Hello, I'm Sandy Rajavajula and welcome to St George's Park, the home of the FA and of England football. Today, we're going to be learning what it takes to kind of make it through that elite football pathway through academies. And we've got a couple of very talented youngsters and very proud parents joining us to kind of help us learn what that process has been like so far. Aarav, we're going to start with you and your dad, Gerd. So you are at Wolves.
Yeah.
When did you first join them?
It was mid-2020 in June when they scouted me, and that was when I was 5 years old.
You were 5? Wow.
Yeah.
Good, that sounds like a very young age to kind of end up being scouted by a professional football team.
It was, yeah. It was a little scary at the time, going into an environment that we don't know, we're not comfortable with. But no, he was scouted at 5 years old, and he's not looked back since.
So were you playing grassroots football then, Aarav, before that?
Yeah. I was playing, you might not know this, but I was playing for, you might not know the team, I was playing for a team called TS Academy.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you got scouted through that. I mean, we'll talk a little bit more, Gerd, about what that experience was like. Eesah got to bring you in as well. So you're a goalkeeper, you're 10, you're at Walsall, so different level, I know it's a different setup at Wolves, and we've got your dad, Imran, as well. What was your journey like? Imran, where did Eesah kind of start? How did he become a goalkeeper at Walsall?
So he was initially a goalkeeper in the garden with his older brother and cousin. So being the youngest in the group, he always ended up in goal, and I think that's kind of turned out to be a blessing in the end. We basically responded to an advert on Facebook from a local club called Coldlands Colts in Solihull, who wanted a goalkeeper for under-8s. And it kind of went from there. We went, they had a look at him and took him on straight away. So that was the start of his grassroots journey at under-8s and under-9s level. And then at under-10s, he joined a Saturday League team that played in the Junior Premier League, again grassroots, and that was Solihull Academy. And then it was playing against Walsall for Solihull Academy that he got scouted, and they called him in for a trial.
Wow, that's one way for them to beat them the next time, isn't it? Take the goalkeeper away. So, I mean, that sounds like a pretty cool experience there to be scouted in that sort of way. Do you still get to play for your other teams as well? What does it look like now for you?
So at Walsall, they don't let you play like other grassroots. They just want you to play academy football.
Okay, and what was that experience like then, going into that? Was it scary at first? Have you got friends now?
Yeah, I made all the friends in the group. It was a very good experience going from the lowest level to the highest level for your age.
Well, Imran, Eesah says he's got friends now. I mean, as a parent, it sounds like quite a daunting prospect, though, to go into that. What was that like?
Not only for Eesah, but obviously for myself, then having to get to know a new group of parents, a new environment. But for Eesah, I think the reason we got him into football was to build his confidence. He was the kid who went to school after the summer holidays and would cry. Now he's talking with kind of adults that he's never met before, kind of asking referees to tie his laces. So that's kind of the reason we got him involved with it. And then going from one club to another, to a professional football academy, we've seen that kind of confidence grow. And hopefully that will kind of continue to be the case.
Okay, well, let's play out from the back, from the goalkeeper to the defender over on this side. So you're a little bit younger than Eesah. You're 8 years old.
Yeah.
So you've been in this academy setup for 3 years now.
Yeah.
What does your week look like? You know, how often are you training?
For now, for pre-season, I'm training every single day. So then when I go back into Wolves for the under-9s, I'm fit and ready. But usually with Wolves, I would train Tuesday, I train Thursday. Saturday might be sort of like a mini tournament, not against teams, but Wolves would split us into like teams in our age group, in like bibs and stuff. And then, or they might just get, or we might just do some training. And then Sunday, we've got fixtures we probably might be away or we might be home playing against different academy for the Premier League.
Wow, good. That sounds like a massive commitment. It's almost a full-time job for you as a parent.
It is. It is. Taking him to training, taking him up and down the country. We're actually quite lucky with Wolves. They put coaches on for the players. If parents want to go, they can make their way to the game themselves. But no, it is a big commitment. Training normally lasts for a few hours, couple of hours to 2 to 3 hours. So it's a big commitment. It's not one that I do by myself. It's one that Aarav's mom supports as well, and granddad as well. So if I'm not available to take him, granddad will take him. So yeah.
So you got a good support network around you then.
Yeah.
What do you get back from the club? And if Aarav's got any questions, or do the coaches feed that back to you guys? What do you think?
When I'm struggling against different teams, I would ask the coaches, can I have some tips on how I can get better at this role when I'm playing. And at half time or at the end of the game before we start a new game, they would always tell me to do this, to do that. And then I would take that on board, and then I would show it in the games, and then I'm much even better, and then I'm stronger, more physical, my passes are accurate, my shots are good. Yeah, so basically that.
Good. There's a lot. He's taking in a lot there, and being very precise as well. What about you from a parent point of view?
So no, Wolves are good. They offer a lot of support to parents. There's good communication there when we need it. But yeah, it's good. Whenever we need a bit of advice, they're on hand to offer and support as and when.
Well, Imran, I know. So Eesah, you're at Walsall. So I don't know, have you got a similar coaching setup there? How does it work? What are your commitments like for Eesah, Imran?
So Eesah, he will train Monday evenings for an hour and a half. Same again on Wednesdays. Then an hour and a half again on Saturday mornings, and then games on Sunday. Obviously, at the moment it's kind of pre-season, so they're just training, so no games. But there will be friendly fixtures dotted around. Games can be home, which is kind of in the Walsall area, or away, which could take you anywhere from Bristol, Southampton, right up to Blackpool, Manchester, wherever the game is set up.
And you managed to make it to those games, because that's a lot of mileage you're putting in there.
Definitely is. So I'll kind of do my utmost to kind of be at every game and kind of pretty much every training session. If I can't, then my wife, she'll go. But we kind of have a wide support network with uncles and aunties and kind of sometimes even friends who want to go. Sometimes people will go just because they want to see him play and train, but sometimes it becomes a necessity and you have to call upon that wider network.
And Eesah's kind of unique, isn't it? Aren't so many goalkeepers of Asian heritage playing at his age group, is that right?
Yeah, I think he's probably either the only one, if there is another that we don't know of in the country at the under kind of 11s level, then yeah, it's kind of quite a unique position he's in. I mean, goalkeeping's kind of a little sport in itself, as his coaches tell him. I think it's the only defined position in the rules. So yeah, Eesah feels quite special playing in goal, and so he should.
And Eesah, how are you at dealing with that pressure? Because they always say if a defender makes a mistake, if a defender over here makes a mistake, they can get away with it. But we need the goalkeeper. It kind of lead to a goal. How are you at dealing with all of that?
You might get put down, but you just have to pick yourself up, pick your team up, and go again.
There you go. And you've got defenders supporting you. Are you supportive of your defender, of your goalkeeper, I should say?
All the time. I help block, and then when the player's coming, I would help defend the goal for the keeper, and a few times the goalkeeper's off his line. It's like a one-on-one, but then I've sprinted to that player, and then I've made a really good challenge, and then I got lots of praises from the coaches, and a couple of times I have helped the goalies on a goal line clearance as well.
Okay, so you definitely one putting it in for the team then.
Yeah.
Can you? This is one for parents as well, actually, as well. Can you have fun, even if you're in an academy? Because it sounds like, you're in this professional setup. Everyone's got dreams of Premier League. Gerd, can you still enjoy it?
I think at his age and probably Eesah's age as well, I think fun has to be the key thing in order for you to progress and develop. As soon as it starts becoming really serious, that element of fun will disappear very quickly, and the kids, they won't be kids and they won't enjoy it anymore. So I think it's imperative to keep it fun, in a fun environment for them, and Wolves, and I'm sure Wolves will do the same, but Wolves, they do that really well at the minute, to take the pressure off the kids, because that pressure inevitably is going to be there as they grow older, with other things and other milestones they've got to try and reach. So fun should be first and foremost, going in with a smile and coming out with a smile.
Imran, for you, is that a similar sort of vibe for Eesah?
Absolutely. I think the coaches, they're very mindful of always asking them, even at the end of a training session, did you enjoy it? What did you learn from that? Because they always want them to take something away. And if they're not enjoying it, I think they're trained in a certain way, the coaches, to pick up on these things, and then speak to the child, speak to the parent, because it can be a kind of highly pressurised environment. Like you said, everyone has a dream of becoming that professional footballer. But for now, it's about laying the foundations. And if the enjoyment's not there, then those foundations will just crumble away due to the pressure that they could end up putting on themselves.
I'm thinking about your own goalkeeping, Eesah. Who kind of inspires you as a keeper?
I have two. It's Andre Onana and David De Gea.
Okay, well, both, one just leaving United and one just joining. Different styles though. So are you a kind of a ball-playing goalkeeper or a big save sort of player?
I'm more of a shot stopper.
Okay. And what about you, Aarav?
I look up for two as well. I look at Van Dijk and I also look at Sergio Ramos, because when they're at the back, they're always physical and they would always make good recovery runs. And that's who inspires me, because they always give it their all in every single match. The mainly person who I would look up to is Sergio Ramos. Even though that he's getting older and older, he's still putting in that hard work, playing out the defence.
Excellent. I'm going to come back to you two if you've got any questions for each other, because you don't get to talk to players maybe from other academies. But before I do that, Gerd, there'll be lots of parents watching this kind of thinking maybe their own child is either on that pathway, or maybe they've been approached, or they might be dreaming of getting them into the the top flight and in a top academy. What would your advice be for them?
I think if they're getting them into football, that's a good start. Whether it's participation recreationally or competitively, getting them involved in the sport is first and foremost a good thing. If they enjoy it and they progress from there, that's brilliant. If they're going into an environment that these two boys are in, I think they need to, as we said before, need to be enjoying it first and foremost, because if they're going into that environment, the child's already going to have pressure on themselves to perform. They probably don't need the added pressure from a parent to perform as well. So just let them go in, let them be. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
Have you thought of a question for this goalie over here?
If you weren't to pick Andre Onana and David De Gea for your inspiration, who would you pick?
It would be David Raya.
Okay. If you've got any questions for this defender over here, you can shout up as well. But before I do that, Imran, we heard there some good advice from Gerd. Have you got anything to add to that, for any parent thinking about wanting to get the child into an academy or go to trials or however it might work?
Yeah, I think the first step is to kind of get them into a footballing environment. That can start at a very early age with kind of like mini kickers or a kind of recreational thing in a local kind of sports hall. And then from there you can progress into grassroots football. Grassroots football is open to all. Kids sometimes just go to play with with their friends. Some go to then progress on to an academy, and that's the starting point. And I think as parents, we want to kind of put them into that environment, into whether it's competitive or non-competitive, and kind of the talent will shine through eventually. But until if that isn't the case, at least they're kind of running around, staying fit, being healthy, and kids then enjoy that outdoor environment, get on off their tablets and phones and anything else that they can get their hands on.
Yeah, absolutely. Eesah, I don't know if you thought of a question because I've got one for you. Otherwise, have you got one for Aarav?
What's your toughest ever game you played?
Am I allowed to say 2?
Yeah.
Okay. I've got 4. I've got Man City, one of them, because every time when the player's running at me, they come at me quick because they've got lots of quick boys, and then I have to make up my mind quickly, and then as soon as I make up my mind, they're already gone past me. And then Man United is another one because they've got tall boys and they've got tall boys and they're really physical, and sometimes they push me off the ball, and it's quite hard to stop them as well. And my next one is Liverpool because when we go to Liverpool's training ground, the pitches are small, and then as a defender, if you want to go up the pitch, and you want to attack some more, you're gonna have to run back quickly. If it's like even if it's like 2 or 1 at the back or 3 at the back, it depends what they want to do. So that's one of Liverpool's, and that's Liverpool's. And then the last one is Chelsea, because Chelsea, they've got physical boys and they've got good, skillful players.
I think if you ask the Wolves first team, you might give that exact same list as well there. That all sounds quite scary though. Is it?
I wouldn't say it's scary. I wouldn't say it's scary. It's just, I just wouldn't say it's scary, yeah. I don't know what it is, but it's just not scary.
Okay, I guess it's a bit of a test for you.
Yeah, it's like a challenge.
Yeah. How about you, Eesah? Any tough times in goal?
Stoke.
Stoke.
We lost 8-1 to them. Very good. They play really fast.
Okay. Remember, what's that experience like as a parent when you've got to try to pick your child up if they've had a heavy defeat or had a tough game like that?
I think one of the things that kind of we do with Eesah, and Eesah kind of does himself now as well, he has like reflection after the game. So he'll kind of maybe make a list of things that went well and things that he can then learn from. So when he then looks back over the course of a season, he can then see if there's a pattern in there. But yeah, I mean, no one likes losing, and whether you're a child or an adult. But those things come with it. It's part of the resilience. It's part of that kind of character building that football definitely does. And being in those environments, but recognizing that whether you're playing academy football at an elite level or Premier League football at an elite level, you will lose games. All goalkeepers will concede goals. It's how you then recover from that, which is the important thing.
Yeah, and Gerd, I was clearly thinking very well about the game and very specific about the opposite opponents he's playing against. Have you got any advice to add to what Imran said there? And also, how do you keep Aarav's feet on the ground when in those sorts of situations? Because you're playing against these top players, and you might do well.
Yeah,
you could have dreamed of the big stage.
Yeah, I think with Aarav, when they've played a tough team like a Chelsea or a City or a Liverpool, and they've given not just him but the team a torrid time, I always use it as an opportunity for learning, and I'll ask him, well, this might have gone wrong, that might have gone wrong, but what did you think you did well? And we'll praise the things that he did well rather than focus on the things that didn't go well, because there'll be an opportunity later on to look at them. But in that moment of time, it's good to kind of lift their spirits and praise the little things that they might have done well.
Okay. I want to ask you both about advice you might give to any other young players who are thinking they might be getting involved in an academy setup and what you might want to say to them. So what would your advice be to anyone thinking about getting into an academy?
For people who are young,
Yeah.
just never give up. Always listen to your coaches. That's the main thing. Because if you listen to your coaches, they would listen to you when you speak, and then you listen to them when they speak, when they want you to do things better. Or if they want you, And and the most important one is when you're playing football on the pitch, always have a smile on your face. Yeah.
That's a very positive one to have.
And never think negative. When you're playing like tough teams, just never think negative. Always imagine that you're always going to win and you're always going to give it your all.
Okay, that's some really good advice, especially giving it your all. I think that's one of the most important things in football, isn't it? As well as we talked about enjoying it. Eesah, for you as a goalkeeper as well, there might be a lot of youngsters thinking, I'm pretty good as a goalie, but it's quite hard. There's only one person who can ever play in that position. What would your advice be for anyone thinking about going into an academy, or if they're getting that opportunity and weighing up, should I say yes, should I say no?
Just work hard, train hard, and the most important thing, just enjoy it. Because if you enjoy something, then you're going to work harder for it. But if you don't, then there's no point in playing.
Well, there you go. I think that's a positive note to end on. Now, if you want to learn more about what's happening in your area as well and what's going on with the FA, then have a look on thefa.com. You can find out lots of information about these elite pathways. And if you're looking for opportunities for your own youngster to get involved in football, then just search Find Football.